Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi shir.
Shalom, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Brachos Daf Chavtes. We're on Chavches Amud Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. Says the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanon. We learned in the Brachos, Shimon HaPekuli, Shimon the cotton merchant. His dear Yudches Brachos Lefnei Rabban Gamliel, he arranged the 18 Brachos of Shemona Esrei. Apparently they used to daven Shemona Esrei, but they didn't have a specific order, specific sequence. Each one did it on their own, as explained by Rabbeinu Yoina. Shimon HaPekuli went ahead and he arranged the 18 brachos of Shemona Esrei al HaSeder, according to a specific order. Rashi explains these are the order of the psukim. We have a makar source for a specific order based on psukim, as explained in the Gemara Megillah. So he organized it according to this order, al HaSeder, b'Yavne. This took place in Yavne. Is there anybody here amongst you that has the ability to establish Birchas Hatztukim, the bracha that is meant to ask Hashem to protect us and to destroy the ones that challenge Torah, challenge our way of life, challenge our Torah Sheba'al Peh, whether it's the Stukim, whether it's the Minim, some say it was the Christians. So is anybody able to do so? Any of the Chacham that are around today able to do so? Apparently the Mepharshim say that every word in a bracha, in tefillah, needs to be weighed and needs to be considered so that we know that it has the right effect in heaven. So is anybody able to do this regarding this Birchas Hatztukim? Amad Shmuel HaKatan V'tikna. His name was Shmuel HaKatan, even though he was a great man. So he got up and he established, he was able to mesaking this bracha, Birchas Hamin. L'shana Acheres, next year, Shacha, he forgot. They appointed him as the Shlech Tzibur, he was the Chazan, and when he got to the bracha of Birchas Hamashinim, Birchas Haminim, he wasn't able to recall the words. Now the Mepharshim say apparently this wasn't something that was davened all year long. Some say it was because Shmuel HaKatan himself was Torah Nasa, he was exclusively involved in Torah, and he was pater from Tefillah, so he hadn't davened the entire year. Or some say at that point the takana, the custom was only for the tzibur, and he hadn't been a shliach tzibur. In any case, he couldn't recall the words of the Birchas Lamashinim. So here's the Chazan standing there, and he's waiting, he's contemplating, he's trying to recall the words of the Brachos Lamashim. Everybody's waiting for him. V'loi helu, says the Gemara, did not remove him from being the Chazan. The interesting lashon of v'loi helu is because apparently they used to go down. The teva, the place where the Chazan stood, was at a lower area than the rest of the tzibur, as it says yored lifnei teva many times. I once saw a shul that was actually built in this manner, that the floor sloped downwards towards the Chazan. And this is based on the Gemara before that says that one's tefillah should be mimamakim from the depths. So in any case, he couldn't recall the words. Nevertheless, they did not remove him from being the Chazan. Says the Gemara, why didn't they remove him? If the Chazan erred, he makes a mistake, and any other brachas, they do not remove him. However, there's one exception of Birchas Hatztukim Malinoisai. Regarding this bracha, if he can't recall the words, we suspect something is amiss and we remove him from being a Chazan. Why? Chayshinon Shemiminhu. We suspect perhaps he himself is a heretic, is a min, and therefore he's avoiding the recital of this bracha. Says the Gemara, so why in this case did they not remove Shmuel, since he couldn't proceed to Birchas Haminim? Says the Gemara, Shani Shmuel HaKatan. Here it's different, because he was the one who established the bracha, the Yutikna. He was the one who established it, therefore there's no suspicion that he is one of the minim. Says the Gemara, nevertheless we should suspect perhaps he reverted, he changed his mind. Yes, he became a min or tztuki, and therefore, although he was the one who established it, but now perhaps he's veered off the proper way, and he's refusing to say this bracha. Says the Gemara, Amar Abaye Gimiri, I have a Kabbalah, I have a tradition, Tavel I have a Bisha. One who is righteous, one who is a tzaddik, he cannot turn wicked. Says the Gemara of Eloi, is that so? V'chsiv, ubeshuv tzaddik mitzid kasev, also of avil. When a tzaddik reverts from his righteousness and he does evil, we see even a tzaddik, we're not so sure, even a tzaddik can become a rasha. Says the Gemara, no, that's different. Now, who rasha mi'ikarai? That's speaking about one who initially was a rasha, then he became a tzaddik. In that case, he must make sure, he must be on guard that he doesn't revert to his original ways. But Avot Tzaddik Mikar Loi, if one was a tzaddik initially from the start, there's no concern that he will go off and he will become a Rasha. So the Gemara, is that so? Is one really assured about his righteousness? V'loi, v'tanan, we have a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, al tamin ba'atzmcha ad yom moischa. Person should never believe in himself until the day he dies. Person should constantly stand on guard and watch out from the Yetzer Hara tries to pull him off the right path. So even a person who is a tzaddik, nevertheless, he's not ensured that he will remain that way for the rest of his life. As the Gemara continues, Sharei Yochanan Kohen Gadol Shimish beKahuna Gedola Shmainim Shana. Here we have a Kohen Gadol, Yochanan Gadol, who served in Kahuna Gedola, who was a Kohen Gadol for 80 years. What happened at the end? Uba Soif Nasa Tzeduki. He became a Tzeduki. He went off, he veered off. So we see it's not guaranteed. So how can you make this absolute assumption that a tzaddik mi'ikarai, one who's a tzaddik from the get-go, is insured? Says the Gemara, Amar Abaye, Hu Yanai, Hu Yochanan. Yochanan Kohen Gadol was actually a Rasha mi'ikarai. He was the same Yanai who killed the Chachmi Yisrael. So he started off a Rasha, then he became a tzaddik. So in that case, certainly there was a chashash, there was a concern that he will revert to his original path. So that's why it happened by Yochanan. However, a tzaddik mi'ikarai who is indeed a tzaddik from day one, by him there's no concern. Therefore, Shmuel HaKatan, since he was a tzaddik mi'ikarai, we had no concern about him. Rav Amar, no, Yanai Lechud, Yochanan Lechud. They were two separate people. Yanai was a Rasha mi'ikarai. He started off as a Rasha, he killed the Chacham Yisrael. Then he repented. He went on the right path. However, Yochanan tzaddik mi'ikarai. This Yochanan Kohen Gadol was indeed a tzaddik mi'ikarai. So Abaye and Rabbi disagree as regarding the identity of Yochanan Kohen Gadol. According to Abaye, he was Yanai. He was a Rasha, became a tzaddik, and then reverted back to his old ways. According to Rava, there's no relation between the two men. There was Yanai, who was a Rasha mi'ikarai, and then perhaps the tshuva, and Yochanan was actually a tzaddik mi'ikarai. Says the Gemara, Nichal Abaye. Okay, so this works well. According to Abaye, we see from Abaye that a tzaddik mi'ikarai, a person who was initially a tzaddik, certainly won't go off. There's no concern about him becoming a Rasha. So therefore, this explains why, regarding Shmuel HaKatan, we weren't concerned that he veered off since he was a tzaddik mi'ikarai. Ela Rava Kasha. According to Rava, we see that, according to Rava, Yanai Lechud of Yochanan Lechud. Yochanan was a tzaddik mi'ikarai. Nevertheless, we see that he became a tzduki. So we see that even a tzaddik mi'ikarai can veer off. Says the Gemara, you're right. Omelach Rava tzaddik mi'ikarai namodim hadarbei. This concern about veering off the proper path is applicable even to a tzaddik mi'ikarai, as we see by Yochanan Kohen Gadol. Therefore, in the case of one who's davening and he has difficulty reciting Brachos Haminim Malshinim, even if it's tzaddik mi'ikarai, we are concerned perhaps he became a tzduki. Says Gemara, so back to square one. What happened to Shmuel HaKatan? So why didn't they remove Shmuel HaKatan from being the Shliach Tzibur, although he was a tzaddik mi'ikarai, which according to Abaye, a tzaddik mi'ikarai can't veer off, but however, according to Rava, even a tzaddik mi'ikarai, there's a concern that he might go off the path and he might have become a tzduki. So in this case of Shmuel HaKatan, why weren't we concerned? Says the Gemara, Shani Shmuel HaKatan. Here it's different. The Aschaba, since he began, he started saying the words of the bracha. In that case, it is different. It is indicative of his consenting to the bracha. He just simply had a difficulty carrying through. The Amar Vidamar Rabbi Tema Rishon Levi. Some say it was Rishon Levi, which states the following: Halacha leishanu. This is only said. This halacha that a shliach tzibur gets to birchas ha-malshinim and can't proceed, we remove him from his post. This is only elish lehischaba if he hasn't begun the bracha. Aval hischaba goimra. However, if he begins the bracha and we see that he's attempting to say the bracha, goimra, certainly we allow him, we wait patiently, and we don't remove him. We let him finish the bracha. So, in conclusion, according to Abaye, what was the reason why they did not remove Shmuel HaKatan? The reason is because he was a tzaddik mi'ikarai. He was a tzaddik from the beginning. He was an initial tzaddik, and therefore there was no concern that he became a min, he became a tzduki. According to Rava, the reasons are different reasons, because he was hischaba, he attempted to make the bracha, he started, and therefore there is no concern that he is rejecting the bracha. Continues the Gemara. So we have It corresponds to the 18 brachos of Shemona Esrei. They correspond to the 18 askaros, Hashem's name mentioned in Tehillim Chavtes. They correspond to the vertebrae. They correspond to the names of Hashem mentioned in Shema. What about the rest of the year? Tefillah Shemona Esrei of the rest of the year. Says the Gemara, Hani Shabbat the Shabbata Keneged Mi. We know that a Shabbat Shemona Esrei consists of 7 brachos. What does that correspond to? Omar Chalafta ben Shol Keneged Shiva Koilos Shamar David Alamai. They correspond to the 7 times that David HaMelech mentions the word Koil, voice, in the Perek Tehillim Kol Hashem Alamayim, which is Tehillim Chavtes. Hani Teishad Rosh Hashanah Keneged Mi. What about the 9 brachos of the Shemona Esrei of Rosh Hashanah? What does that correspond to? Amar Yitzchak ben Kantignoin Keneg Tisha Askares Shamar Chana Betfilah. They correspond to 9 times that Chana mentions Hashem's name in her Tefillah. And we know that many halachas of Tefillah are derived from Chana's Tefillah. Therefore, it's very fitting that we connect the two. And why specifically the Rosh Hashanah Tefillah? Says the word Amar Mar. We learned Rosh Hashanah Nifkeda Sarah Rachel V'Chana. These 3 Sarah, Rachel, and Chana were remembered on Rosh Hashanah to be zeicha to merit to have children that year. Therefore, it's fitting that we link the Tefillah of Rosh Hashanah to Chana. Finally, says the Gemara, Hani Esrim V'Arba Tanisa Keneged Mi. What about the 24 brachos in the Shemona Esrei of a fast day? What does that correspond to? Amar Chelbei Keneged Chavdal V'Nanis. The 24 tefillah, song, prayer, pleading, the different types of terms that we find the Shamar Shlomo B'Shah Shechnes Aron Beis Kodesh HaKadosh. We find that Shlomo Melech recited when he attempted to bring the Aron into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. The New Beis Hamikdash, the doors closed up, and they didn't allow him to bring the Aron in. And he had to daven 24 different types of tefillahs to be zeicha to bring the Aron into the Beis Kodesh HaKadoshim. So this is fitting for Yom HaTanis. Says the Gemara, Yachi, Kol Yom Naminim Rinu. Let us say it every day if it's so special. Why Dafka on Yom HaTanis? Says the Gemara, Amos Amrinu Shlomo. When did Shlomo Melech recite these 24 nights? B'Yom Derachmi, on a day that he required special Rachman, special mercy. Anami Astu B'Yom Derachmi Amrilu. We also say it on a fast day when we require special mercy. So in conclusion, the brachos of Shemona Esrei correspond to various things. The brachos of the weekdays, the 19 brachos, correspond to the askaros, to the chulyos. The brachos of Shabbos, the 7 brachos, correspond to the 7 koilos. The Rosh Hashanah brachos, the 9 brachos, correspond to the 9 askaros of Chana. Finally, 24 brachos and otainis correspond to the 24 rinonos of Shlomo HaMelech. Continues the Gemara. Rabbi Shua Ima Me'en Shemona Esrei. One davens merely Me'en Shemona Esrei, an abridged version of Shemona Esrei. So what does this mean? Me'ein Shemona Esrei. What does this mean that one is meant to daven only Me'ein Shemona Esrei? Rab Amar Me'ein Kol Bracha Bracha. We take a bit from each bracha. We abridge the bracha. As Rabbi Nina says, we begin and we end the bracha, the opening and the conclusion of every bracha without the middle. That is Rav Shita. Shmuel Amar, what does it mean? Me'ein Kol Bracha Bracha. It is a new type of bracha. It is an abridged Shemona Esrei. We take the first 3 brachas Shemona Esrei. We take the final 3 brachos Shemona Esrei, but we skip the entire middle and we abridge it. We shorten it into one bracha called Havinenu, and we make reference within this short text to every bracha of the middle brachos, as we will see. Shmuel Amar Havinenu Hashem Elokeinu Das Rochecha. Help us understand your ways. This corresponds to Atachoinen. When we request Hashem, we have a tefillah for wisdom. Umoiles Lovavenu Lirasecha. It should circumcise, it should be moil, it should cleanse our heart to fear you. So this corresponds to Hashiveinu Avinu Sarsecha. Continues the Gemara V'Sislach Lanu. You should forgive us. This corresponds to Slach Lanu. Liyas Geulam, that we should be redeemed. This corresponds to Re'einu Vanyenu. V'Rachkeinu Machavenu. Distance us from hurt, from pain, from sickness. This corresponds to Rafa'enu. V'Dashneinu B'nai Sartzecha. You should fatten us with the pasture of your land. This corresponds to Baruch Aleinu. Continues the Gemara for Tzeseinu Ma'arba Tekavetz. You should gather out, disperse from all the 4 corners. This corresponds to Tekavet Shofar. Those judges who err in their judgments, you should inspire them to have the clarity and to judge according to your will. This corresponds to Hashiva Shefteinu. You should raise your hands against the wicked people. This corresponds to V'lam Al-Shinim. The tzaddikim should rejoice in the building of your cities. Corresponds to Al tzaddikim. Uvesikin echalecha. This is V'Yishlayim Ircha. Perhaps the Binyan Recha, V'Sikin Alecha. Both are V'Yishlayim Ircha. They should rejoice in the sprouting forth of the pride of your servant David. This corresponds to Esamach David, and to the setting of the lamp, of the light for Ben Yishem Shechech Mashiach. So this is all a compilation of the Brachos and Mitzvahs, and we shorten them into one small bracha. Continues the Gemara. What is the conclusion of this Havinenu? Terem Nikra Atasana. Even before we call to you, you should respond to us. You should know our needs and respond to our needs. And we conclude with the Chasima of Baruch Ata Hashem Shemeya Tefillah. Continues the Gemara. Layit Alei Abaye. Abaye condemned, didn't like Amanda Masni Havinenu, one who resorts to this shortened version of Shemon Esrei, since he's skipping over and he's missing out a lot of the Shemon Esrei. Amar of Nachmar Shmuel, Kol Hashana Kula Mispalad Havinenu. The entire year, one may daven Havinenu if he needs to, except Chutz Motzei Shabbos or Motzei Yom Tov, except for Shabbos and Yom Tov. B'pnei shetzorach leimar Havdalah b'chorin hadas. Why is Motzei Shabbos and Motzei Yom Tov different? Since that requires Havdalah, which means the Atachan and Tana prayer that we insert into the fourth bracha Shemon Esrei Chorin hadas. Since Havinenu doesn't include reference to Havdalah, to separation of Shabbos and separation of Yom Tov from weekday, so therefore on a Motzei Shabbos and Motzei Yom Tov, even when one is ordinarily allowed to daven Havinenu, he may not do so on these times, since he won't be able to recite the Havdalah. Says, well, what's the problem? Let's insert something regarding Havdalah into Havinenu. Maskele Rabba Shmo v'neimer bracha revius ne'atzma. Let us say, not into Havinenu, but let us make a bracha revius. Let us designate a separate bracha for Atachan Antanu. Fine, you can't, for some reason you can't insert it into Havinenu. Let him go ahead and make a separate bracha of Atachan Antanu. This will be for Havdalah. Let this be the fourth bracha, meaning he begins with the three brachas, Avos, Gvuros, Kedushos, then he will say the fourth bracha, which is Atachan Antanu, and then move on to Havinenu. Don't we find such a shita? Rekiva holds that ordinarily Atachan Antonu is not inserted into Atachan as we do today, but rather we designate for it a special bracha. It is bracha revius. First we say Avos, Gvuros, and then Krish Hashem, Atakadosh, and then comes the fourth bracha of Atachan Antonu. That's the shita of Rekiva. So the Gemara asks, just like a Rekiva holds that on a regular Motzei Shabbos and Motzei Yom Tov we make it into a separate bracha, here too, let us make Atachan Antonu into a separate bracha and then move on to Havinenu. Rabbi Lezer holds that ordinarily we insert Atachan Antonu into Brachos and to Moedim. Okay, so this is the Machlekes in Rabbi Lezer. Where does one recite Atachan Antonu? But why is this not a good idea, a good solution for Havinenu as well? Let us recite it as a separate bracha. Says the Gemara, Atu kol hashana kula mi'avdina k'Rekiva. Entire year, do you then follow this opinion of Rekiva, where we designate a separate bracha for Atachan Antonu? We don't do that. That we should follow according to the Shita now as well? We don't do that. Kol hashana kula, my time the entire year, we don't follow Rekiva's opinion. We don't make Atachan Antonu to a separate bracha. Why? Tani Sri Tikkun. Because the Rabbanan established they were masakin 18 brachas for Shemon Esrei. Tishri lo Tikkun. They didn't establish a 19th. Meaning, we can't just add another bracha. This is obviously talking about before Hamashinim. Meaning that there are 18 brachas, standard brachas. We're not meant to add another bracha on our own. Hachanami here too, Sheva Tikkun, Tamni lo Tikkun, regarding Havinenu. When one resorts to davening in the Havinenu format, that is a tefillah of 7 brachas. The 3 first, the 3 last, and the Havinenu, which is the middle one. This is a takana of 7 brachas. A 7 bracha Shemon Esrei. Perhaps this is corresponding to the Shabbos tefillah, which also has 7 brachas. But in any case, the Chacham set a set number. You can't just add. Sheva Tikkun, Tamni lo Tikkun. Therefore, that is not a solution. Therefore, in conclusion, on Motzei Shabbos and Motzei Yom Tov, one needs to recite Havdalah. There's no solution. Havinenu doesn't include a reference to Shabbos and Yom Tov, to Havdalah. To make a separate bracha, we don't do that. Says the Gemara, Maskele Razutra. What's the problem? Let's simply insert a few words into Havinenu. Hashem, you should give us wisdom. Havinenu Hashem Elokeinu. Hamavda ben Kodesh l'Chol. You are the one who separates between Kodesh and Chol. What's the problem? Just insert another couple of words to correspond to Atachan Antanu. Says Gemara, Kashi, indeed it is difficult. Says the Gemara, Omar Abibi Barabai. Another halacha regarding Havinenu, Kol Hashana Kula Mispal Adam Havinenu. The entire year Havinenu is acceptable except for winter time. Why? Because one needs to request for rain in Baruch Aleinu, and that can't be done in Havinenu. Says, well, 1 second, why can't we just insert it? Maskla Mazurtra, the same kasha as he asked before. When we say those words, V'dashnenu, you should fatten us, you should satiate us with Oisar Tzecha in the pasture of your land. We should insert V'sein Talamatar. These are the words which correspond to Baruch Aleinu, right? So just as we insert V'sein Talamatar in Baruch Aleinu, why can't we just include it right here? It says, if we start confusing and changing the text, people will get confused. Therefore, we don't want to risk that, and we don't want to insert any new words. If so, every Matzah Shabbos, every Matzah Yom Tov, why did the Gemara before say that we can't say Havinenu because of Havdalah? Why can't we say Havdalah? So the Gemara explained, because we can't make it into a separate bracha. We don't pass like Rabbi Akiva. Says the Gemara, what about the option of putting it into Havinenu? So it remained difficult. The Gemara concluded it's a kasha. We had no response. Says the Gemara, why can't we just say the same answer? You know why we can't include in Havinenu? Because because it will confuse people. Why can't we just respond the same way earlier? Why do we have to leave it with a difficulty, with a kasha unresolved? The Gemara asks, why can't we include it? Kasha, we don't know the answer. But we do know an answer. Just as we say here that we can't just include words, insert words, change around the text because of confusion. So regarding Havdalah as well, why didn't the Gemara use the same answer? Again, says the Gemara, Hachi, if there's a concern for confusion, Havdalah b'chein das nami, regarding the question of why we don't insert Havdalah into chein das, nami also the truth. There too, there's a concern of confusion. Why can't that be the reason? Says the Gemara, there's a difference. Amri, they said as follows: Hasam by Havdalah, kivan the asi b'tchila sloisa, since it's the initial part of davening, it is the beginning of Havinenu. One has the ability, still has the ability to concentrate at that point. Loi mitrid, it won't confuse him. Therefore, that is not a reason not to insert to insert Havdalah right there, because there's no concern for confusion since it's the beginning of Havinenu. Hacha by us regarding the prayer, the request for rain. Given the asi since it's in the middle of the davening, matri, the person already doesn't have the same level of concentration. Therefore, we're concerned for confusion. So, in conclusion, why on Matzah Shabbos, Matzah Yom Tov, there's one not daven Havinenu? The Gemara says a concern of Havdalah, since he cannot recite Havdalah. What about during the winter? Because he won't be able to request for rain. Says the Gemara, what's the problem? Maskla Rashi, what's the problem with requesting for rain in the winter? Why can't he simply put it at the end of Havinenu, right before Shemei Tefillah? And that is at the end of his davening. Therefore, there's no concern for confusion. Apparently, when it's only at the end, it won't really mix him up. So why is that not an option? Says the Gemara, Amar of Tanchum, Amar of Asi. As we find a similar halacha regarding an ordinary standard Shemini Esrei, that one could insert his tefillah of rain into Shemei Tefillah. One who erred, who omitted mentioning Gvuras Geshem, Hashem's strength of rain, meaning the statement of praise to Hashem, Mashavuach Merad Geshem, he omitted that in the bracha Tchias Meis, in the second bracha of Shemini Esrei. Machzir, he needs to go back and start from the beginning. If he's in the middle of the second bracha, he begin from the beginning of the second bracha. If he's already past that, he start from the beginning of Shemini Esrei. So that is ma'akev, that invalidates the tefillah. However, she'ela b'richas Hashanah, if one omits the request for rain, she'ela b'richas Hashanah, b'sein talamatar, there's a solution. Ein machzir noisai. He doesn't need to go back. Why? He can always make it up in Shemei Tefillah, since there's the bracha which contains requests, and a person may even insert his own personal request in Shemei Tefillah. So that is the appropriate place to recite birchas she'elas hagshamim, even if it's out of place. However, regarding the haskara of Gvuras Geshem, that is not an option, as the Mepharshim explains, since that is merely a statement of Hashem's praise. That doesn't belong in Shemei Tefillah, which is a tefillah, a bracha for requests. So again, regarding Ma'ashem Orach Merad Geshem, there's no solution. However, regarding the Saint Talmatul bracha, there's a solution. He could always insert it into Shemei Tefillah. Continues the Gemara of Havdalah b'chein hadas, ein machzir noisai. Similarly, regarding if one omits Havdalah in Chayin Hadas, he doesn't need to go back, because there's always another option, because he can make Havdalah on a cup of wine. So we see in conclusion from here, that She'ela's Gesham can always be recited in Shemei Tefillah. So why regarding Havinenu, is that not a solution? Even during the winter, a person should be able to request for rain at the end of Havinenu, right at the part of Shemei Tefillah, just as an ordinary Shemona Esrei, a person can include a request for rain in Shemei Tefillah. So what's wrong with saying Havinenu during the winter? So the more Ta'ashayni. Surely if a person forgets, if he omits, inadvertently leaves out V'sein Talmud Levracha in Baruch Aleinu, certainly he can make it up with Shemei Tefillah, but for us to go and act initially, to go be Masake in a Tefillah in this manner that the Bracha V'Gshama should take place not in its appropriate place, in the Bracha of Baruch Aleinu, but rather by Shemei Tefillah, that we don't do, and therefore during the winter one may not recite Havinenu, since he cannot mention the Tefillah for rain. We won't mention it in the middle by Baruch Aleinu, by the words which correspond to Baruch Aleinu, since that might confuse him. We won't put it at the end near the words of Shemei Tefillah, since that is not L'chatchila. We don't want to enact a takana, a Tefillah with the Tefillah out of place. Continues the Gemara. Gufa, we just learned the halacha as follows. Omer of Tanchum Aravasi. Tov le'isker gvus gesham tchias hamesim, one who omits Masha Baruch Mer Geshem in the second bracha of Shemona Esrei, Machzir Noisai needs to go back. She'ela Brachos Hashanim, he leaves out the request for rain in Baruch Aleinu, in Machzir Noisai, he doesn't need to go back. Meshiyachal Oim Shemei Tefillah, can always make it up in the Tefillah, in the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. However, and similarly regarding Havdalah B'Chayin Hadas, if he leaves out Havdalah, in Machzir Noisai, he doesn't need to go back. Meshiyachal Oim Ralakoy, since he can make Havdalah on a kois. Says more, is that so? Is that so that a person who left out the prayer for rain, he can always make it up, doesn't need to go back? Meisvei, ta v'leihiske gvurz shom tchis hamesim. One leaves out gvurz geshamim mashavrach in the second bracha Shemona Esrei. Machzir Noisai needs to go back. She'ela Brachos Hashanim, he leaves out She'ela request for rain in Baruch Aleinu. Machzir Noisai needs to go back there as well. V'avdalah b'chayin hadas ein Machzir Noisai nishiyach loim alakois. So we have a contradiction. We have a brayso which tells us that even regarding She'ela's Geshamim, the request for rain, if one omits it in Brachos Hashanah, he needs to go back. So this is a stira, a contradiction to the halacha mentioned earlier. It says Zimar like Kasha, it's not difficult. There's a difference between if one davens b'yechidus on his own, then he needs to go back. But tzibur, one davens within a congregation, within a tzibur, then he's not required to daven again. Says, well, what's the difference? B'tzibur, my time Eloi. Why in a tzibur is not required to go back? Because he can listen to the shleich tzibur, to the chazan who recites Shemona Esrei again, and it can be yaitze, he can fulfill his obligation through doing so. Says the Gemara, Hachi. If that's the case, if that's the reason, why, if a person omits She'ela Brachos Hashanim, he doesn't need to go back, because since he can hear us on the shleich tzibur, that is the reasoning of Rav Tanchum Amar Rav's halacha, Amar Vasi's halacha, that if one omits She'ela Brachos Hashanim, he doesn't need to go back. We're speaking about tzibur, and he will hear the shleich tzibur recital of Shemona Esrei. Ihachi, Hai mipnei sheyachal oima v'shmei tefillah. Why did Rav Tanchum give us a reason of, you know why he doesn't need to go back? Because he can always make it up in Shemei Tefillah. That's not the reason. Hai mipnei sheyachal lo'ima b'shmei tefillah. Is that the reason? Because he can recite, he can always make it up in Shemei Tefillah. Mipnei sheyamei mishleich tzibur b'olei. He should have told us a different reason. He doesn't need to go back because he can always hear it from the shleich tzibur. He gave us the wrong reason. So you can't say that Rav Tanchum's halacha is speaking about the circumstances one is davening with tzibur, and the reason why he doesn't need to go back is because he can hear from the shleich tzibur. That wasn't the reason that he gave. Says Gemara Ella, but rather idi b'yachad, both are speaking about that it's an individual on his own. For like kasha, it's not difficult. Rav Tanchum's halacha that doesn't require one to return is speaking about that he reminds himself, he recalls that he missed the she'ela, he missed requesting for rain prior to his arrival at the bracha of Shemei Tefillah. Therefore, he can always make it up at Shemei Tefillah. However, the brayso which says that one is required to go back on omission of the Tefillah of Geshamim is speaking about the Adkar Basa Shemei Tefillah. He reminds himself after he already recited Shemei Tefillah. At that point, it's too late, and he needs to go back and daven again. Says the Gemara, Omar of Tanchum Omar Vasi, Omar Shub Levi. To one who errs, who makes a mistake inadvertently, And he did not mention Rosh Chodesh, mention of Rosh Chodesh. This is what we say, Ya'alav Yavai. He didn't say it, he left it out of Avodah, of Ritzei, which is the bracha called Avodah, discusses the service of the Yidden, the Tefillah and the Karbanos. So one omits Ya'alav Yavai. Chayzel Avodah needs to go back to Avodah, to the bracha of Ritzei. Niskar B'Hodah, he's already in the middle of the Birchas Moedim, and he reminds himself that he left out Ya'alav Yavai. Chayzel Avodah needs to go back to Ritzei. V'Sim Sholem, he's already in Sim Sholem. Chayzel Avodah needs to go back to Ritzei. V'Im Siyem, but he's already so far that he's already finished davening. Chayzel Rosh needs to start from the beginning of Shemoneh Esrei. Amar Papa, Breder Rachmari Adam, Hada Amar and Sim Chayzel Rosh. This that you just told us, that if one completes the Shemoneh Esrei and he recalls that he left out Ya'alav Yavai, he needs to go back to the beginning of Shemoneh Esrei, that's only like Amar, and that is only said Ella She'aka Raglav, that he uprooted his feet. And he finished Shemoneh Esrei. Not only did he finish saying the words, but he already stepped away, he already uprooted his feet. That is considered to be a full conclusion. Aval She'aka Raglav, but if he hadn't uprooted his feet yet, he hadn't stepped away, Chayzel Avodah is still considered to be davening. He's still considered to be in the middle of his prayer, and he need not go back to the beginning of Shemoneh Esrei, but rather just to Ritzei. Amar Lei. So they told him. So Rav Shimon Levi, Rav Tanchum, Rav Asi, responds to Rav Papa. Amar Lei, Menolacha. How do you know this halacha? This differentiation between Eikar Raglav and not Eikar Raglav. Perhaps once he finished the words of Shemoneh Esrei, even if he's still standing in his place, he's finished, he's done. Why do you say it depends on uprooting the feet? Amar Lei me'Abba Mari Shmi'ali. I heard of my father, Abba Mari me Rav. So we have a solid source from Rav to this halacha that it all depends on Akiras Raglayim, on uprooting of the feet. Continues the Gemara. Amar of Nachmar Yitzchak. Hod Amar Akar Raglav Chayzel Rosh. This that you just told us. That if one uproots his feet is Akar Raglav, he needs to go back to the beginning. The Akiras Raglayim is considered to be a completion of Shemoneh Esrei. He went away from his makam tefillah. He uprooted himself from his makam. His Shemoneh Esrei is finished. That is only provided le'amaron ela she'enei ragel lo'imar tachnunim achat filasei. He's not accustomed to adding divrei tachnunim, words of plea, after his tefillah. Like for instance what we say today, like kain netzor. So these are tachnunim after the completion of the 19 brachas Shemoneh Esrei. So if one is not accustomed to saying tachnunim, so in that case, when he completed Shemoneh Esrei and he was Eikar Raglav, it's a full completion. He needs to go back to the beginning of his tefillah. Aval but Ragel tachnunim achat filasei. One who is accustomed to saying tachnunim, words of supplication after his tefillah, Chayzel Avodah, then even if he was Eikar Raglav, he uprooted his feet. Nevertheless, since he's still in the process of davening, he's still saying tachnunim. Therefore, even Akiras Raglayim doesn't denote a completion, and he merely needs to go back to Ritzei. So he's being makel, he's taking the lenient view that Akiras Raglayim on its own is not a determinant. The determinant factor is whether or not he's going to say Tachnunim. If he's Eikar Raglav, but he's still going to say Tachnunim, that's okay. If he's not going to say Tachnunim, then that is considered to be a completion, since he was Eikar Raglav. Ikar Da'amri, there's a more stringent view as follows. Amar Nachman Yitzchak. This that we said, when one hasn't uprooted his feet, he merely goes back to avodah, because since he's still standing in the makam tefillah, it is as though he's still in the middle of the process of davening. That is only le'amar, and that is provided. He's an individual who is accustomed to saying words of tachnun after his tefillah. Therefore, since he's still going to daven, he's still in the midst of his prayer, so it's not considered to be completed. Aval. However, one who doesn't have the minhag, doesn't have the custom to recite tachnun after his tefillah, then he needs to go back to the beginning of Shemoneh Esrei, even if he has not been Eikar Raglav. So he's taking a chumrah view, a stringent approach, that if it depends on tachnunim. Even if a person was lo Eikar Raglav, he's still standing in his place, but he has completed the words of Shemoneh Esrei, that is sufficient to be considered to be a completion, a full completion, and needs to go back to the beginning of Shemoneh Esrei. However, if a person is still about to continue with Tachnunim, he's still considered to be in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei and does not need to go back to the beginning. So in conclusion, we have two shittas in the Gemara. The first shitta is Mekel, is saying to us that even when a person is Eikar Raglav, has uprooted his feet, Nevertheless, since he has a mind still to add tachnunim, he's still considered to be in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei. The second version of the Gemara was l'chumra, a stringent view that even prior to uprooting one's feet, it depends if he has in mind to say tachnunim. If he has intention to resume with tachnunim, in that case, he's considered to be Mel Shemoneh Esrei. But if he's completed Shemoneh Esrei, he doesn't intend to add words of supplication, even if he has not yet uprooted his feet, it is considered to be a complete Shemoneh Esrei. And at this point, if he recalls that he had forgotten Yal V'Yavai, he needs to go back, Choyz L'Rosh, to begin Shemoneh Esrei. Continues the Gemara. Reb Lezer Omer, Ha'isei Tefillah se kva. If one makes his tefillah kva, a fixed thing, says the Mishnah, ain't tefillah tachnunim, his tefillah is not accepted as a tachnunim, as a supplication. Says the Gemara, my kva, what exactly is the definition of kva fixed? We have several pshatim in the Gemara. Says the Gemara, 4 explanations. Number 1, Omar V'Yakar Idam Rav Yosha, Kol she'tfilah so doimel k'masoi. His prayer is viewed by him like a masoi, like a load, like a chore that he merely needs to complete. He has a negative attitude, a burdensome attitude towards his davening. That is called tefillah sekva. Person must approach tefillah as a privilege, something to look forward to, not something that he needs to merely get over with. For Rabbanan Amri, another pshat is, Kol mi she'eino omer b'lashon tachnunim. We look at the style of his tefillah. Are you reciting the tefillah in a lashon tachnunim, in a pleading tone? That is considered to be tachnunim. Tefillah se tachnunim. But if one merely recites the words without that additional tachnunim tone of voice, tachnunim factor, that is not the preferred way of davening. Continues the Gemara, Rabbi Yosef Tavayu. What is the meaning of kva? Kol she'niyachal l'chadash b'davar. If one doesn't have the clarity and the concentration, the presence of mind during his tefillah, to be able to mechadish, to add a personal prayer into today's tefillah that he didn't have yesterday. Every day, one is meant to exude forth a personal connection to Hashem, a personal tefillah. If he's not able to do that, if his level of clarity is not up to that point, that is considered tefillah kva. Continues the Gemara, Amar Rav Zera, I'm able to do that. I'm able to add a personal prayer. However, I'm concerned, that this will confuse me. I won't be able to pick up where I left off once I start inserting my own tefillahs. So the Mefarshim ask, what do you mean? If this is a condition, if tefillah's kva is one that doesn't have a chiddush, so according to this pshat, Rav Zera's tefillah, which didn't include any chiddush, was a tefillah's kva. Says the Machzah Shekel, no, the Gemara never meant that one is required to actually insert a tefillah every day, a personal chiddush. The Gemara merely meant kol she'yochel she'nei yochel l'chadash b'davar. If one is not able to, meaning that one needs to have the ability, the clarity, the approach to tefillah should be with the concentration, with the kavanah, that one is able to feel like he could add his own personal prayer. He wants to. So even if it so happens that he doesn't do so for various reasons, whether it's because he's concerned that it might confuse him, that's okay, because his tefillah has the right nature, the right property. Continues the Gemara. One more pshat in kva Abaye barabin. Rav Chini barabin da'am Tavayu. What is the meaning of kva fixed? Kol she'ein mispalim dimdum echama. He doesn't daven at the appropriate time. Dimdum echama means with the redness of the sun. As Rashi explains, in the beginning of the day when the sun begins to rise, that is the most appropriate time for Shachris. And similarly regarding Mincha, right at the end of the day when the sun is setting, so he enwraps the whole day with tefillah, the beginning and the end. That is the best way to daven. So if one seeks to daven in the most appropriate time and manner, that is the best way, that is tachnunim. However, if one is not makbid particular regarding the timing of his tefillah, he just davens as it comes without paying heed to these specific, very apropos moments. That is a problem. That's called tefillah kva, that is not preferred. Continues the Gemara. What do you find the source for this type of timing, the beginning and end of the day? With the sun, meaning with the rising of the sun, with the front of the moon for generations to come. So one is meant to daven with the sun and the moon, with the beginning and the end of the day. Later in Marav and Israel, they would condemn, they would curse this person, Amanda Matzlin, the Mechama, one who delays his mincha up until the end of the day. My time, why? Perhaps an emergency will come up, a mishap will arrive, and he had delayed his mincha up to the last moment, and now the emergency will arrive, and he will lose his opportunity, he won't be able to daven at all. One is not meant to wait till the last moment. So in conclusion, what does it mean? We have 4 explanations. Either miskamased like a load, or is not beloshin tachnunim, or he's not able to be mechadish v'davar, and finally he is not davening in the most appropriate moments and times. One who's in a dangerous area, he's traveling on a dangerous road, he davens a short prayer. In all Parshas Ibor, their needs, Klal Yisrael's needs should be before you. Explains to them, what does it mean, Parshas Ibor? My Parshas Ibor, or Rav Chizda Amar Marukva, afilu b'shah, shatam esmal aleim evra, that you fill yourself with anger, k'isha ubara, like a pregnant woman. That's what it means, Parshas Ibor, meaning all explanations. Precious means all the explanations of the word Ibor. Evra, anger, and Ibor, a pregnant woman. So, B'chol Parshas Ibor, with all the explanations, the meanings, definition of the word Ibor, you are full of Evrok, Isha Ubara, still we ask you, Hashem, all their needs, all their needs should be before you. You should fulfill the tzrachim of Klal Yisrael. Ikad Amri, some explain as follows. Amar Chizda, Amar Marukva, even if they veer from the path of Torah, Prishas Ibor, mean they perish, they veer away, and they are over on the Torah, still, their needs should be before you. You should provide them, Klal Yisrael, whatever they need. One who's traveling in a place that is infested with packs of wild animals and robbers, he prays the following short tefillah. Up in heaven, where everything is good and fine, there's no averis, the malachim don't commit any sins. Over there, you should conduct yourself with your will, which is completely good. Your will, your ratzon in Shemaim is completely good. However, down here, where there's chet, there's sin, we ask of you, you should provide peace of mind to the one who fear you down here in this world, and don't submit them to the control of the beasts, of the robbers. Even if they require punishment, you give them the punishment. Don't put them to the hands of the don't trust them into the care of the beasts, of the robbers who have no mercy, have no rachmanis. Rather, you give us a kapar, you give us the einish that we need. If you need to do so, you do it with rachmanis. Baruch atah Hashem shemei tefillah. Rav Shoimer, one is meant to daven the following tefillah in a makam sakana. Shema Shavas Amchei Yisrael, listen to the groan of your nation, v'asei me'era v'kashasam, and fulfill their request. Baruch atah Hashem shemei tefillah. Rav Lezer Tzelik Oimer, Shema Tzakas Amchei Yisrael, listen to the screaming of the crying out of your nation, v'asei me'era v'kashasam, and fulfill quickly their request. Baruch atah Hashem shemei tefillah. Acher Moimrim, others say as follows: their needs are great, are multiple. However, their mind is short, meaning they don't have the ability to express themselves, to articulate themselves properly. Marshal says this is very appropriate for a makam sakana, where one doesn't have the ability to express himself properly. So this is the entire tefillah. Provide every person with their sustenance. Everybody should have what it needs, what it's missing. Who listens to our tefillah. The halacha follows this last tefillah of achirim. This is what one is meant to daven in makam sakana. Amar le Eliyah of Yehuda Achva, he was the brother of the Rav Salah Hasidah. He gave him the following instructions: Lo yisirsach, don't get mad, don't get angry. Lo yisechti, and don't come to sin. Anger makes a person lose his bearings and leads a person to sin. Be careful. Watch yourself from getting angry, and you will ensure that you do not come to chet. Number 2, he told them, don't get intoxicated, don't get shikr, and you will not come to sin. The third thing he told them was, when you are embarking, when you're going on a trip, you take leave from Hashem, and then leave on your trip. What does it mean to take leave from Hashem and to take a device from Hashem, permission from Hashem? What does that mean? This is a special tefillah which was enacted for one who was traveling, and as the Gemara will continue, he must daven this tefillah of the road, the traveling. My tefillah haderech. What is the text of tefillah haderech? Says the Gemara, it should be a will. Hashem Elokeinu Elokai shetelechenu l'shalom. You should lead me to peace. You should make my steps steps of peace. Tismecheni shalom, you should support me to peace. V'tzatzileni, and save me mikaf. Kol oyev from the control, from the hand of all the enemies, v'oyrech, all the ambushes, v'derech, that are found on the way. Tishlach bracha masayodai. There should be a blessing, a bracha in my handiwork. I should accomplish what I need to do. V'tzitneni, l'chein l'chesed rachem. You should place me with chein, chesed, rachem. I should find favor. I should find chesed and rachman and mercy beinecha in your eyes, ve'eini kol royai, and all those that see me. Baruch atah Hashem sheimeya tefillah. So this is a special tefillah called tefillah saderech, and certainly this is not in place of tefillah Shemona Esrei. This is merely an additional tefillah that wants to daven to get special heavenly assistance Yad Shmaya when one's traveling. As the Persians say, a derech is a makam sakana, kol drachim b'chesed sakana. When one's traveling, there's a danger, a concern for sakana. Therefore, this requires a special tefillah, a special rachmanis, that a person should be matzliach, succeed throughout his entire trip.